Building a pallet requires at least 2 people. Before you begin building your pallet, you need to be sure you've complied with the necessary safety requirements. First, remove your watch and any rings you may be wearing. The only safety equipment you'll need is a pair of work gloves and steel-toed safety shoes. Throughout the pallet build-up process, remember to practice proper lifting techniques. There's no reason for you to sustain a back injury if you just take your time and do it right. The items you will need vary slightly from one type of pallet to another, but in all cases the list is fairly small. First, you'll need 3 pieces of dunnage. These are used to support your 463L pallet, upon which you'll be placing your cargo. You'll also need 2 side nets, which are easy to identify by their green color. A top net, which is yellow. Depending on the type of pallet you're building, you may only need the top net or the 2 side nets and CGU 1B cargo straps. You'll need a plastic pallet cover for all pallets. And the last item you need will be a forklift. Once you have all of these items, you're ready to begin. First, lay your 3 pieces of dunnage on the floor. They should run parallel to each other, with enough space for forklift tines to fit. Once your dunnage is laid out, take your pallet and inspect it. You'll be looking for surface damage on both the top and bottom. Make sure there are exactly 22 serviceable rings attached. These are for the nets. Next, check to make sure the pallet isn't warped. Warped pallets don't fit well into aircraft. Finally, inspect it for cleanliness. If you find dirt or grease, take a moment and clean it off. Now that you're sure you have a serviceable pallet, it's time to place it over the dunnage. An easy mistake to make at this point is laying the pallet upside down, especially if you're new at this. The best way to tell if you have the right side up is to look at the edges. The proper configuration is shown here. Also, when you lay the pallet onto the dunnage, make sure the short edge of the pallet is parallel to the dunnage. This enables the forklift to pick it up properly once you're finished. Now you're ready to load the cargo onto the pallet. Start with your heaviest and bulkiest items first, working from the center of the pallet out to the edges. As you build the pallet, save the lighter, crushable items for the top. If the cargo won't fit without protruding over the edge, load it onto the long side of the pallet. A note on hazardous cargo. It is placed on the shorter 88-inch sides of the pallet with the labels facing out. This makes for easier access to the loadmaster in the event of an emergency. When you're finished, the method you use to secure the pallet will depend upon the cargo configuration. In no case may the cargo exceed 96 inches in height. In all cases, cover your load with the plastic pallet cover before you begin securing the cargo with nets. In the instance you have a large height pallet, you will need 2 green side nets and 1 yellow top net to properly secure the pallet. Inspect your nets to make sure they're serviceable. You'll be looking for damage to the rings and hooks and rips on the netting material. Also, corrosion renders nets unserviceable. After you're sure of your nets, take the first side net and lay it on the floor next to the pallet. 1 side net covers 2 sides of the pallet. Starting on the short side of the pallet with the hooked end of the side net, begin attaching the bottom net hooks to the pallet rings. Cross the net hooks when you reach the corners. Continue fastening the net until you reach the end of the long side of the pallet. Remember on the last hook, as with the first hook at the opposite corner, to skip the last ring and go to the first ring on the next side. Repeat this process with your other side net. When you're finished, raise the side nets up onto the cargo as high as they will go. On the corners where the two nets meet, attach the hooks to the rings. Tighten down the sides. When you're finished with the side nets, drape the top net over the cargo. Make sure the stenciled words outside or top center appear on top of the net. Also, the top net has 4 straps for the short side of the pallet and 5 for the long side. When properly configured, the top net should hang evenly over each side. Attach the clips of the top net to the rings on the side nets. Never attach the clips to any rings lower than the large rings in the middle of the side net. After hooking up the top net, cinch it down with the tightening straps. This requires 2 people opposite each other on the pallet, pulling at the same time to ensure an even tightening of the top net. When you're finished with the top net, cinch down the built-in belly bands on the sides. Remember that they must be in even height all around the pallet when they're tightened. Finally, tuck in any loose hanging straps. Make sure there are no straps hanging below the bottom of the pallet. This completes the proper buildup of a high cargo pallet. For a medium height pallet, follow the same procedures until you have the side nets attached and draped over the cargo as far as they'll go. This time, instead of a top net, you'll use 7 CGU-1B cargo straps. Inspect them for serviceability. Then drape 4 of the straps over the cargo for the long sides of the pallet and 3 for the short side. Hook the straps to the top rings of the side nets only, never to any of the lower rings. Also, never cross the straps over each other. They must run parallel to each other and attach to opposite rings on the side nets. Make sure you have at least 1 1/4 turns of strap in the ratchet spool, then tighten down the straps. For small pallets, 54 inches high or less, you don't need side nets. Drape a top net over the cargo and attach the clips to the pallet rings. You'll have 1 ring extra on each side of the pallet when you're finished. Keep the net as even as possible and tighten it down. Using 4 CGU-1B cargo straps, secure the sides of the cargo in the same manner as the belly bands. The straps must be the same height around the cargo, and when properly attached, will appear as you see here.